You hear a lot these days about microdosing, psychedelic-assisted therapy, but that's all pretty new. The relationship between humans and sacred fungi, well, that's ancient. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a tradition that stayed hidden from the modern world for a very, very long time. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's rewind the clock. The year is 1957. A banker and amateur mushroom enthusiast named R. Gordon Wasson publishes this huge article in Life magazine, and it introduces the Western world to the quote-unquote magic mushrooms of the Mazatec people in Oaxaca, Mexico. And believe me, this one article changed everything. So all of a sudden, the whole world is looking at this tiny, remote part of Mexico, and it kicks off this whole wave of psychedelic tourism. As this quote lays out so clearly, this flood of outsiders basically turned a sacred practice on its head. What was once a deeply spiritual ritual got turned into, for many, just a recreational trip. So yeah, that Mazatec story, it's the one almost everyone knows. But it makes you wonder, right? What other traditions managed to carry on, hidden away from all that noise? And that's the story we're diving into now. So we're going to pivot. We're leaving the well-known Mazatec story behind and returning our attention to another indigenous group in Oaxaca, one whose story has pretty much been a secret until now. Okay, so where are we going? We're heading to the Valles Centrales of Oaxaca, to a small, isolated community called El Peral. And this is the important part. This place, it kind of dodged that whole psychedelic tourism bullet. It stayed under the radar, allowing its unique traditions to survive. And the people here, they're the Zapotecs. But in their own language, they call themselves the Biniza. And get this, their name means people who come from the clouds. How beautiful is that? It just gives you a little peek into their deep connection with the world around them. Now, this is why what we're talking about is so huge. The research we're looking at is literally the first time anyone has formally documented these specific Zapotec practices. Think about that. We're getting a first look at a tradition that's been going on in secret for centuries. So what's this tradition all about? What's the secret? Let's dig into the mushroom itself and the incredible beliefs that go with it. All right, here it is. This is the star of the show, Psilocybe zapotecorum. It's the only one they use in El Peral. You can see it's got that really distinct cone-shaped cap, and see the stem? That blue bruising when it's handled? That's the dead giveaway. That's how you know it's got the magic inside. You know, what they call it is really interesting. It kind of shows you two sides of the same coin. Some people call it hongo borracho, the drunken mushroom, but the elders, they call it Hongos Santos, the holy mushroom. And in their own Zapotec language, it's nitobia, which also means holy mushroom. And this is absolutely crucial. For this community, this is not about getting high. It's a tool, a really powerful one. I mean, look at this. It's used for divination, to literally know something about the future. It's for diagnosis, to figure out what's really wrong with someone, physically or spiritually. It's a medicine for things like the evil eye or even lovesickness. And it's a counselor. People consult it before making huge life decisions, like whether it's safe to migrate for work. Okay, now this next part is just incredible. It really shows you how deep their worldview goes. They believe that the mushroom literally absorbs the personality of the person who picks it. So if someone who's angry harvests it, the journey's going to be aggressive. If a quiet person picks it, the mushroom won't speak. And that's why the absolute best people to harvest them are happy, chatty kids. Isn't that amazing? So with all these deep beliefs, you can imagine the actual ceremony is really specific and careful. So how do they actually do it? What does the ritual look like? The ritual itself is super specific. Every step matters. First, you have to wait for nightfall. It has to be silent so you can hear what the mushroom has to tell you. The dose is incensed with copal resin in front of an altar, and you have to speak to the mushroom, ask its permission, and state your purpose. And here's a really unique part. You have to chew them. A dose is about 3 to 6 mushrooms, only with your front teeth, and for a long time. The whole time, a trusted companion waits silently in another room, just to be there for safety. So when it's ready to be used or maybe sold to a neighbor, this is what it looks like. A single dose, just 3 to 6 of them, is wrapped up in this big, soft leaf from the local San Pablo plant. And the price tells you a lot. A little package like this goes for about 25 Mexican pesos. That's like $1.50 in the US. This is clearly about community need, not about making a profit. But here's the thing. Even though this tradition has been kept secret and has these incredibly deep roots, it's now facing a couple of huge threats. and they could end it for good. The first threat? It's environmental. The people in the community, they see it firsthand. They say it just doesn't rain like it used to, and the forests are getting thinner. You hear it from this 87-year-old resident who just says there's not much growing anymore. It's getting harder and harder to even find these sacred mushrooms. And the second threat? Well, this one doesn't come from climate change or tourists. It's coming from inside the community itself. This quote from a 92-year-old elder, it just says it all. There's this real fear that the tradition is dying because it's just not being passed down. Young people no longer consult, they say. They no longer believe. It's this heartbreaking fear that all of this knowledge, all of this history could just disappear. And this right here, this is the core of the problem. You've got the elders who see the mushroom as a sacred medicine, right? It's for healing, for getting guidance. But then you have a lot of the younger people. And for them, it's becoming more about the sensory experience. It's shifting from a sacred tool to a recreational activity. So what are we really talking about here? This story of El Peral, it's not just about one village or one kind of mushroom. It's really a window into what we all risk losing on a much larger scale. Because what could be lost here isn't just a fungus that contains psilocybin. It's an entire worldview. We're talking about a relationship that's been built between a people and a plant over centuries. It's a whole system built on respect, on ritual, on a kind of knowledge you just can't replicate in a lab or a clinic. And that leaves us with a really big question, a really important one. As our modern world gets excited about psychedelics again, medicalizing them, commercializing them, the whole deal, we have a choice to make. Whose voices are we going to listen to? Are we only going to amplify the scientists and the investors? Or are we also going to make room for the quiet, ancient voices from traditions like this one, the people who have held this sacred knowledge for generations?